This is Close Encounters. Close Encounters. True stories, real people. Close Encounters on Cross Rhythms.
Yes, hello, welcome to Close Encounters with me, Anne Donaldson. And my guest today is Robert Price. Rob and Emily, his wife, have responsibility for running Mere Park Community Centre, also Lovestoke Church, and also Love Coffee Shop. Sounds wonderful, Rob. Welcome.
Thank you. Lovely to be here again.
We're looking forward to hearing more from you. But from your accent, I know that you weren't born in the Stoke-on-Trent area.
No, I know. It's quite deceptive. You'd think I was born in Wales, but I wasn't born in Wales. I was born in High Wycombe, Buckinghamshire, but moved to Wales when I was 3. So fi'n siarad Cymraeg, fi'n deall mwy fi'n siarad e. So, but a lot of people don't speak Welsh in Stoke, so I went from boyo to ducks, you know.
Yes. The term endearment here is duck.
Yeah.
You're right, duck.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. So tell us a little bit about your early years and what influences were around.
So my early years, I was born in High Wycombe, as I said, and then Mum and Dad moved to Aberdare, and I was brought up in Aberdare a little bit, and then they moved to T Croes and Ammanford and Llandilo, around there, South Wales really, Carmarthenshire, and we lived on a little small holding called Pantsoa in Salem, and I went to Tregeeb, which is a secondary school in Llandilo, and was invited to church when I was about 15. Went along totally for the wrong reasons because there was good-looking girls there, and didn't go there for God at all. But just went because there's a lot of young people there. And then in August, when I was 15, I went to what they call the Apostolic Church Convention, and again just went for a week of flirtation and young men and women. It was great. I really enjoyed it. It was fantastic. And then on the last weekend, I felt a bit guilty that I'd abused the whole system, caused the people who run it a lot of hassle by, doing a lot of terrible things. And then on the Saturday evening, I decided to I'll catch one church service because I thought I owed them that much.
Okay.
And went to the church service and heard a guy preach about a God loved me and cared for me and created me, and it just made sense, and I gave my life to God at that point. I went forward, I asked the Lord to forgive me for my sins, and there was quite a few of those, I can tell you, and that was it, and I would say it was at least probably 3 or 4 weeks when I realised that my life had changed.
Really?
Things had gone differently. I weren't doing the things I was doing. There was a lightness in my spirit. There was so many things that were different, and I could only put it down that God took me seriously on that night. And then from that point on, the whole family came to know the Lord within 6 months. My mum, my dad, my brother, my sister, household salvation. Yeah. And then brought up in Cumrin, a lovely little farmhouse. I went to a little church in Cumdi, the Apostolic Church in Cumdi, and then moved to Stoke when I was in my late 20s to Tunstall, and worked in agriculture most of my life. And now I'm here.
Yeah, that's amazing. So your parents must have seen, if you were aware of the change in you, your parents must have seen the change in you.
Yeah, it was interesting. Many miracles happened back then, and I believe in a God of miracles. I believe that God still does miracles even today, and there's a few miracles that I know that are still happening even today. I mean, my mum used to buy a £2 chicken from Tesco's back then, and we used to invite the church. It was about 30 people and young people. Mum used to cook this small little chicken and feed everybody, and have enough chicken left over that was more chicken than we brought before, and we had that on most Sundays. And that was a complete, we used to live in in a place of where God would just move, and it was amazing. And my mum, 27 years ago, was diagnosed with myeloma. She was given 3 years to live. The doctors did the treatment where they destroy all the blood white cells, and they take marrow out of her bone, and then they basically cultivate it and screen it and then put it back in to try and combat the disease. And the disease basically, now the disease is being treated and people are living like 8-9 years. But back then it was 3 years they gave her. And my mum, I remember my mum one morning praying to God, and God, she felt God say to her that he would keep her in the disease. And so she believed that, and I remember she telling me, I was working in agriculture at the time and working with another business called Zorbing, and I was back and forth up and down all over the UK, and I rang my mum, and she'd just come out of hospital, and they'd given her a couple of years to live, and she felt the Lord had said, no, keep you in the disease. And today, she's still alive, and she's the longest lasted patient with myeloma in the world, 27 years now, and she's still got the disease, but God has completely kept her. And so when people say God is not alive, I know in personal experience that God is alive, and God is still doing miracles. God is still doing great things. It's just that people just need to open their hearts to him, really.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's amazing, Rob. Thank you for sharing that. So your life took a completely different turn.
Yeah, it did. My mum said I'd be in prison most of my life if I wouldn't have met Jesus. There's a lost opportunity, eh? So God means everything to me. I've still gone through silly things, I've still done life choices that are not correct. I've been divorced, I've remarried, and I've got 6 children, but they're not mistakes, by the way, but what I'm trying to say is that God works, and I've always believed that it's not religion, it's relationship. And every time I see religion, it cringes. It makes me, I don't like religion. In fact, I'm anti-religion in that sense, but I'm all for relationships, because I believe relationship is what God wants. He doesn't set a set of rules. The Bible is not a set of rules. It's not a set of books that has just rules in it. I mean, if you read it like that, then you've missed the whole point for me. To me, relationship is the key point, and holiness is about having a relationship with God. God says, be holy for I'm holy. It's all about relationship. God's really interested in people, and since opening the coffee shop in Mere Park, it's all been relationship, and it's amazing that when you talk about relationship, people who are agnostic, atheists, all walks of life, all ask for prayer.
Yes.
And when God answers their prayer, they always come back and say thank you. There was a man who went skiing with his wife about 18 months ago, and he had an accident and broke his pelvis, and it was really touch and go. We were worried about whether he would live and whether he'd be in a wheelchair and all this. And we prayed as a church, and within 10 days he was back, and he didn't go to church. He came to church. He came to the coffee shop. And I said to him, we prayed. He said, I know you prayed. He said, because I know God answered your prayer. Now, he doesn't believe in God. No. But he knew God had answered. And I said to him, well, what are you going to do about that? I said, there's a story in the Bible about 10 lepers. And Jesus healed them all. But only one came back to say thank you. Yeah. And he came on Sunday to say thank you. Yeah. And in front of the whole church, he stood up and he said, I'd like to thank God for healing me and for bringing me back, and the pain had gone, and he plays golf now and all that sort of stuff. And so does he come to church? No, he doesn't come to church. But does he know God? I would probably say that God knows him. Absolutely. And for me, it's not about getting people in a church. It's about people having an experience and a relationship with God that will change them, because at the end of the day, I'm a believer that relationship is progressive.
That's good. Rob, I'm going to ask if we can take a break at this point. And you've chosen a song. Tell us why you've chosen this song.
So I believe this one is Magnum, is it? Yeah, that's it.
Thank God.
I thank God, yeah. I love this song because there's a verse in it that says, hell lost another one. And for me, that's all it's about.
Yeah.
Hell losing people and heaven gaining people. And it's an amazing story. It's a story of my testimony that God picked me up, turned me round. My life is completely different to what it could have been. And so my story is a story of redemption, not a story of judgment and condemnation.
Amen. We'll listen. Thank you. I'm Anne Donaldson, and my guest today is Robert Price. So, Rob, you were talking about your early years, and you referred to your dislike of religion and how God is really looking for relationship, that relationship's the heart of Christian faith.
Yeah.
But there was a period of time when you became religious? Or?
Yeah, I was very religious, very Pentecostally religious, if you could, such a thing.
Okay.
And if you went back to 1904 revival, they'd probably think that was impossible. But, Pentecostals can be very religious, very condemnational. No, please forgive me. I'm not saying that all are religious. And I'm Pentecostal myself. So what I'm trying to say is there is very much an easy road to slip into condemnating or judging people or basically stepping into that place, which is a place of death, really. Because as soon as we start judging the world, it becomes a downward spiral, I believe, because what God says is that he will judge and he has the final word. So we don't have to worry about it. For me, we don't have to worry about it. You see, life choices that we make, we're led away by our own temptations. So, I realized when I was young, I put men and women on pedestals. So I put people, there were many people like Pastor Seaborn, Pastor Rankin, lots of great men. Some people still, some of those men, it's like Eric Hawley, Pastor Eric Hawley. There's great men of faith, and you put them on a pedestal. But the thing is, they're all sinners.
We all are, aren't we?
and you realise that every single person that stands on a pulpit is broken. Every single person that stands on a pulpit is a sinner, is a child of hell. You know what I mean? And they are no more righteous than a person that walks into a building and looks to God and asks for forgiveness. No matter what walk of life, all have sinned. All come short, and yet religion picks people up and puts them on a pedestal, and then judgment comes. So we are very judgmental on the gay and the lesbian sort of thing. When I was a young man, it was burn in hell, it was like turn or burn. And it was very much pointing out sin and highlighting sin and putting one sin above another sin. And yet in the eyes of God, sin is sin, and whether you lie, cheat, whether you swear, blaspheme, or whether you commit adultery, or whether you partake in certain actions that God says is wrong, all are fallen.
All have sinned,
and all need
short,
Jesus. And that's why it's good news. It's the good news of Jesus. It's good news. It's relationship. It's God saying, no matter what you do in life, there's always relationship. There's always a door open to receive God and to receive love and joy and peace. And so for me, when people come from all walks of life now, I'm not there to judge them. In fact, I'm there to love them.
Yeah.
And that for me is the principle of the gospel of Jesus Christ, is that we are to love and to cherish people because they are born in the image of God. And I love the way God puts it. If you say you love me and hate your brother, you can't say that you love me because you haven't seen me and you see your brother. And so God is saying to us, look, you've got to love the unlovable. And there's some people in my family that I find hard to love, but God still tells me that I've got to love them.
Yeah.
And it's the same in church, you know. There are some people that really get on my wick, and I really wish they go to another church, you know. I mean, honestly, you know, right pain in the backside. But it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, God calls us to love, and so therefore we love, and it's unconditional. And no matter how many times people let you down, you're called to love, and forgive them 7 times 70. And you see, the thing that really is an amazing thing is that God has called us. We call our church Love Stoke Church. Why? Because we love Stoke. And we love coffee as well. That's why we call it Love Coffee, you know. And so the coffee shop's called that. But the principle of all that we do is the bedrock of love. And in Corinthians 13 it says the greatest of these is love, and that is the heart of God. God chooses to love us regardless of our faults, regardless of our religious status, regardless of whoever we are. You know, God loves us, and it doesn't matter if you're an axe murderer or whether you're the Mother Teresa. God doesn't see difference. He just sees a person that he died for, and he loves. And for me, that is amazing, and that's why my second song is Rescuer. Because Jesus rescued us. He's the good news. There is no bad news with God. In fact, the only bad news you find is on the news and with people who make wrong life choices and create wars and rumors of wars and all the stuff that's going on, and the famine and the turbulence that's going in the world. That's bad news. The good news is that God loves us, and out of this, you know, cesspit that we're in, God not only picks us up and not only turns us around, as we heard in the last song, but he puts our feet on Christ, and that is the good news, that Christ rescues us. He does. And therefore, why on earth would we condemn our brother and sister that's still there when God died for them as well? We should be rescuing people, not condemning people.
That's it. Introducing them to Jesus.
Absolutely, 100%.
Who, as you say, turns people around. And he covers us in his righteousness. Absolutely. Which makes us acceptable to God. It's a wonderful, wonderful faith, isn't it?
Amazing. It's amazing. And the beauty about it is when people start realising what God's done for them, They literally have 2 choices. They either accept him or deny him. And but the thing is, it's a personal choice. And even if people deny him, you know, they're still worthy of love. And that's the thing. Even if people turn their back on God, want nothing to do with him, God still calls us to love, regardless.
So it's a good time, Rob, for us to listen to your next piece of music. So can you introduce it for us, please?
This is Wren Collective, and this is Rescuer.
My guest today is Robert Price. Rob, you know, when we come to faith in Jesus, it doesn't mean we don't have difficulties or challenges. And I know that you hit a period of time which involved quite a lot of challenges.
Yes. So I was... when I moved to Tunstall as a lay minister to look after the Apostolic Church in Tunstall, my first wife and our 3 children moved up, and I worked in agriculture, but I was working too many hours, working 80, 90 hours a week with my work, and then running the church, and basically just burnt myself out. And so what happened is not only do you burn yourself out, basically God tells us we should have a day's rest. And the amount of people that don't have a day's rest in the ministry is absolutely ludicrous. In fact, very few ministers, male or female, actually rest. And what happens is that you have this religious spirit upon you that says that you have to provide for your family, you have to provide for the church, you have to basically serve, you have to take all the rubbish that comes with it, and on and on and on. And in the end, it burns you out. And so with burnout comes, people burn out in different ways. The way I burnt out is I started to become unfaithful to my wife, and so that went completely sideways. And then we went through divorce, and we're going through divorce, And I wasn't. I stepped down from the ministry. It was quite interesting, really. As soon as I'd committed sin, I realised that this was not right for me to be anywhere near a pulpit. So I physically made moves and intentionally sat down and moved myself away from anything to do with church or anything to do with faith, because at the end of the day, I wasn't in the right place.
No.
Did God give up on me? No, he didn't. Did God abandon me? No, he didn't. Was I worthy of my position? No, I wasn't. And so therefore, standing down and moving myself away. And then getting separated from my wife and midlife crisis, buy a motorbike, don't you? I've always wanted a motorbike, and so I brought a motorbike. And then the lady that I was in an affair with, we'd broken up now, me and my wife, and it was really weird. God brought salvation in the middle of all this sin and in the middle of all this deprivation. God brought salvation, and so my lady friend gave her life to the Lord and was baptized, and then on a baptism we agreed that we would not see each other, that would be it, and that would be the end of that relationship. So I was on my own, living in a little flat in Tunstall that I'd rented, not living at family but living in a flat, and basically on my own. And so I went and say goodbye. This lady got baptized on Sunday morning, and I went to say, great, all the best, and we just finished, and I was driving back on my motorbike, and lo and behold, as I was driving back on my motorbike, somebody who'd come out of a nightclub and was drunk and on drugs saw my lights and thought, oh, the lights, and hit me doing 63 mile an hour. I was doing 30. So it was a 96 mile an hour impact.
Wow.
Wrote off his car, lay on the side of the road, smashed all his windscreen because I went into his windscreen and then back out. And then he got out of the car, I'm in the gutter, I looked at him, he looked at me, and then he ran off. So I'm now left at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, but 21st of April it was. I went to stand up to run after him and fell over. And didn't realise and looked down, and there on my belly was my foot. Oh. So my leg had snapped, and my foot was actually on my belly button, which it shouldn't be. Oh. And so I realised that there was some serious trauma. And so I lay in the gutter. It was interesting. I lay in the gutter, and I knew, because in agriculture and about animal biology and all that, I knew that, having bones sticking out of my leg, I had my femur sticking out of my leg, degloved my foot, my ankle bone was sticking out the side, so I could see all my bones sticking out, and I thought, this is not good. And it's stupid, but when adrenaline kicks in, stupid prayers. I always remember praying to God, Lord, I don't know which way my leg snapped, but can I please put it back so it doesn't come off in my foot, come off in my hands. So I remember picking up my foot off my belly and literally manoeuvring it to put it back on my other ankle. And I believe I passed out with a pain on that, and then woke up probably 2 or 3 minutes later. And then I realised that I was probably going to die because, with the main femur snapping, you lose a lot of blood. I was worried I'd nicked my main artery, and I had nicked my main artery. The people telling me afterwards that I had nicked my main artery. And I knew I didn't have long to live, so I prayed to God and I asked the Lord to forgive me. Again, down to relationship, no religion, just a man who was dying, crying out to a God that loved him. And at that point in the gutter, in Talk Pits, I recommitted my life to the Lord, and I said to the Lord, and to be honest with you, let's call a spade a spade. Who doesn't do this? If when you're really up against it and you've lost everything and it looks like you're going to die, most men and women call out to God. And I called out to God, and God answered my prayer. And I asked the Lord, please, Lord, would you save me? And a bit selfish, and then I prayed for my wife, and I asked the Lord to protect her and keep her. Prayed for my children, prayed for my mum and dad, mother and father-in-law, the lady that I'd just broken up with, who'd got baptised, and for her salvation, and prayed and asked the Lord to just really just cover everybody, and would he have mercy on me?
Yeah.
And then it's really interesting. The rain started to rain, and I remember it rained so hard. It was April 21st. I was absolutely freezing. I remember having to take my helmet off and lift my head out of the water because I was drowning. And I remember calling God a fatherless son. Rhymes with basket. Anyway, so I remember calling God every name under the sun, saying, I pray to you and ask you for a little bit of help. You could have killed me in the accident. Now you're going to drown me. Thanks a bunch, you know. And then somebody came up and thought it was a dog or figure, and then thought it was a dog, so she pulled over, then realised it was a person, then rung her dad, and then all of a sudden from that ambulances came, first response, second response. And because I'd just gone from the house of the lady came over as well that I'd had the affair with, came over, and they told her, they got me in the ambulance, say goodbye, because there's no chance this guy's going to live because of his trauma.
Wow. We're going to take a break.
Yeah.
We have to hear how this all unfolded.
I didn't die, by the way.
It's reassuring. Your next choice of music is God Really Loves Us.
Exactly, and this absolutely fits perfectly to my accident. Yeah, God really loves us.
Okay, thank you. This is Close Encounters with me, Anne Donaldson, and my guest today is Robert Price. And we're waiting with bated breath. You had the motorbike accident, and then help arrived.
Yeah. I woke up in intensive care. I was in intensive care for about a week. I'd had 27 breaks, 6 compound fractures. The doctors described my ankle as bone soup. And while I was in there, I caught MRSA, and they were talking about amputation then. And so it was a really, really rough time. It was really low. My first wife had come in, and she was hurting because obviously we'd gone through a lot, and I think that relationship would finish completely. But she just came in because she just wanted to, I don't know, maybe have closure. And she said a few things that were really hurtful, and but I don't blame her at all. In fact, we've got a good relationship now, and but when you're down, the enemy really uses everything he can to thing. And so I was there in the hospital, and I got out of intensive care, and then the ambulance people who had put me together and brought me, they'd heard that I'd woken up, and they came to see me because they weren't expecting me to be alive.
No.
And so anyway, they sat, well, they didn't sit on the end of the bed because my leg was all in pins and everything, but they sat, I remember 2 of them standing over me, and I was talking to them, and I asked him, well, how do you think I survived? He said, we're amazed. He said, we're amazed. He said, because when we picked you up and put you in the ambulance, we didn't think that you would survive because of the blood loss and all the stuff that went on. And they said the only thing that we can put it down to is that it rained, and you went into hypothermia, and your blood vessels contracted and didn't bleed out.
Yeah.
And so, that's amazing. So anyway, they left, and then I asked now at that time it was really interesting that the lady who got baptized, and she started visiting me now in hospital, and I asked her to bring Psalm 18, and Psalm 18 was given to me as a young man in the Apostolic Church by an apostle and a prophet who did a apostle and prophet ministry back then, and God spoke this psalm over to me and said it would be my testimony. And so I asked Emily if she would bring the Psalm 18. Oh, by the way, Emily is my wife now.
Yes.
So, you know,
Wow.
The lady I had the affair with became my wife. And so she brought Psalm 18. And then in Psalm 18, it says, I will call, death will come upon you. Cords of death will come upon you, and you shall call upon the name of the Lord, and the Lord shall answer upon his rain clouds.
Wow.
So then I go back to the accident where I'm cursing God for sending rain, trying to drown me. And God sent the rain to save me. Yeah. And it was a very humbling experience to understand that God always answers prayer.
Yeah.
And I've known this in my life, that God has always answered prayer, but not in the way we expect.
Yeah.
And I've also learned that when we curse God, when things are not right and we want things to be, we want God to part the Red Sea. We want God to make a way where there isn't a way. We want God to make our business a success. We want God to make our marriage a success. We want God to bless our children. We want God to do all these great things for us. And then when God doesn't turn up in the way we want him to, we end up cursing him. But the fact of the matter is God's grace is still working and working to save us and working for our benefit.
Yeah.
And God still loves us despite our cursing. And so it was a lesson. And at that point I really said, Lord, restore unto me the joy of my salvation.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I gave my life to the Lord again. And then, I'm not joking, it was a really horrible journey. It wasn't easy. It was really poo bum willy. It was an awful journey. It was basically a MRSA, amputation of the leg they're talking about. And this old Baptist minister, John Metcalf, he's gone to glory now. He came in, he'd heard that there were somebody been had an accident, and he came in, and I remember him, a lovely gentleman. He said, Bob, do you mind if I lay my hand on your knee, and pray? And I said, fine, John. I didn't know his name was John. I said, that's fine. And this man prayed and asked the Lord to stop MRSA, to restore my leg, and all the metalwork and all the pins would be taken out my leg. And that could not happen. My prognosis was wheelchair by the time I was 40, new hips, new knees, because of all the trauma.
Yes, yeah.
I'd be a cripple, and they were talking about amputation. But God's report.
But God. I love that.
Yeah.
But
so
God.
The report of the Lord was, no. The report of the Lord was, I'm going to take all this metal work out. I'm going to take all this stuff out, and I'm going to give you what you lost. Now, I didn't deserve any of it. So when I had my accident, I had separated, divorced from my wife. I had 3 children. I was running a church, and I was a businessman. And running the thing. And I'd lost it all through sin and through stupid life choices that I'd made. And then I had an accident. I recommitted my life. And now, it's really interesting now, I'm a minister. And don't forget, I said to the Lord, I would never, ever, ever stand in a pulpit again. I'd done that. I'm not doing that again, Lord. I failed that. And there's no way I'm telling people how to live their lives when I couldn't even live my own life properly. And I'm not going to be a hypocrite. And I'm not going to. And so therefore, I laid out before the Lord, I'm not doing any of this. I'm happy to serve you, and I do whatever you want me to do, Lord, but I'm not doing that. I'm not bringing a shame upon the gospel. Anyway, God had any ideas, and now I'm married. I have 3 children, extra children. We run a church, and God has completely and utterly restored, like Job, and given me far much more than I had before. And my 3 children from my first marriage, the Lord's really blessed them, blessed them in their career, blessed them in their relationships. And the 3 younger ones that we've got, well, they're younger, they're 19 and 18 now, the twins are, and God has just really just restored the whole lot. And
what an amazing
God. It's
God.
just been...
What?
And religion didn't do any of it.
No.
But relationship did it all. And so I'm forever thankful to God for his mercy and for his restoration.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to listen to your next choice of music now, which is Boldly I Approach. Thank you. Robert, you and Emily run this Love Coffee on Mere Park.
We do. We look after the community centre there, and we took it on about 8 years ago, and we felt God talked to us about opening a coffee shop to connect with community and to build cohesion and things like that, but also to build that relationship with our neighbours. So we built a coffee shop. Love coffee.
Yes, lovely. And from that, you, I'm sure, have got, we haven't time for today, sadly, but so many stories.
God has been absolutely amazing. Jesus makes the coffee, so if you want Jesus to make a coffee, come down to Love Coffee. He makes it every morning, and that's amazing. And we have great talks, great discussions, and it's just an amazing place where people can dwell and have a sense of safety. We only play worship music, and the presence of the Lord is there, and people from all walks of life come in, and they have a little taste of heaven.
That's wonderful. So that's an opportunity for people who perhaps want to connect, but in a very subtle way.
Yeah, for me, the song we just sung, this is the art of celebration, knowing that we are free from condemnation. And I think that no matter whether you've walked with the Lord before and have fallen away, or whether you haven't met Jesus yet, or whether you've had a really bad experience of church, and there's a lot of people out there that's had a bad experience of Christians behaving badly, and they don't represent God. And I just think that God has got such a father's heart for all people, and at the end of the day, God wants relationship, and God calls out to people, loves them unconditionally, and if people can just get over themselves a little bit and make that connection with God, it's just an absolute amazing thing. Yes,
wonderful. Rob, it's been an absolute delight having you here today. I've loved it. I've loved hearing your story. It's the story of restoration, big time, and that's our God. He's the God who restores.
Absolutely.
And thank you very much. And I wonder if you could introduce your last final choice of music.
My final song is about Jesus coming again, and it's Come Jesus Come, and it's an amazing song. We're only pilgrims in this land, and it's interesting that my mum and dad keep on saying, oh, this is going wrong and that's going wrong, and I keep on going, well, we're only passing through, Mum. We're only passing through. This is not our home. We weren't built to stay here.
That's it.
Our home is in heaven. That's where Jesus calls us, and that is just amazing. And when we see Jesus touch earth, we see heaven touch earth. So this is an amazing song. It's about Jesus coming again, and we've been waiting a long time. It's been over 2,000 years.
But he's coming. He's coming.
He's coming.
He's coming.
Yeah, so praise the Lord.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Close Encounters on Cross Rhythms. True stories, real people.